Jon, I'm kind of curious on your recommendation, but also I want to talk a little bit about some of the big mistakes. Again, y'all are leaders. What are some of the big mistakes that you've seen sellers to the federal government make?
So I'm going to answer this in two different ways. I'm going to do one that's more tactical and one that's more strategic. So if I start with the strategic side of things, I always talk to my teams about, you got to have a target to aim at, right? So Lee talked a little bit about understanding mission outcomes. Well, you can't really put a plan together unless you actually understand, how you would address something specifically. And I think that's where a lot of account managers show some hesitation, because that does require a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of networking to really understand and be able to speak very articulately to a customer to say, I can help you, right? The more tactical strategy, and this is something I see over and over again, we get really comfortable with a particular champion or particular contact when we're trying to close a deal. But one of my best mentors said that, decisions in the government are based on consensus. So if you don't know who approvals is going through, you don't know who procurement is, you don't know who some of the regulatory people are to be able to get this done, like InfoSec, you're really rolling the dice when you're setting expectations around the business.
About that for a little bit. How can a sales professional, to leverage what Lee just said, truly differentiate themselves in today's public sector landscape? Jon, why don't you take that one first?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, and I tell my team this all the time, if you want to be successful in sales, be where your customer is. It sounds really basic, but you probably hear a theme here. I keep saying you got to do the work, right? So Lisa talked about traditional outreach. And I think when we talk about how best to get meetings, we're cold call or send an email. But in reality, prospecting is across the board. It is referrals. Right, it is asking good customers to refer you to other customers. It's going to industry events. You guys all have the advantage of being here in the DMV. They hold their own events. You guys should be there, right? So as far as building your own personal brand, that's how you do it. You show up there. You want to be the person who is viewed as they can help you, right? In contrast, I got to tell my team, I'm kind of like, hey, look, I realize sales there's a lot of pressure, right? We get to the end of the quarter, we got to close deals. Do not do anything unnatural with your customer, because here's the reality, right? You do good by your customer, doesn't matter what company you're at, they will remember you. You do bad by your customer, they will remember you. So I'd say from a personal branding perspective, it's one of the best pieces of advice I'd give my team.
What are government customers, what are they expecting from selling professionals right now?
So I'm going to take this from a high level, and this may sound kind of corny, but selling's helping, right? So when you're in those meetings, specifically from a CIO meeting, one, you got to be really respectful of their time, because they have a lot of people barring for their time, right? And you got to ask yourself, when you go in there and you talk about some of these mission outcomes and how you can help them, it's at the end of the conversation, can they understand what part your company and yourself will play in helping them achieve something, right? I get asked very often, it's like, hey, hey, did you have a good meeting? I'm like, yeah, I had a good meeting. Well, why'd you have a good meeting, right? Am I really speaking to what they care about? And a CIO of a fairly large organization in the military said exactly that. I want you researched. I want you to understand what I have to care about right now, and how both yourself and your organization kind of can help us through this, right? And at a CIO level, they're looking for partnership. So know who you're talking to, know what they expect, be researched about it, and there's the empathy part, right? Be empathetic to their situation and how you can help them.
What can sellers do to be seen as a more trusted partner rather than just another vendor?
Well, I think first and foremost, you show up, and you show up in the sense that you're not there transactionally. That's been said a lot here, but I think, when you get in front of a government decision maker, or let's just say a CIO, I mentioned this earlier, part of what they're looking for, in addition to how you can help them, is how do they partner with you, but partner with you at the executive level. So being ready to talk about that is of utmost importance. And I think somebody else said it here on the panel too. Don't think it's just you out there that has to talk to the customer. I am very involved with my team on the ground. I am a resource to them. My boss is a resource to them. My boss's boss is a resource to them, right? Bring the entire team, show the customer that they are important, and you want to establish that partnership to make sure that, they have access to the company and all your resources to be able to be successful at what they're doing.
You guys mentioned making sure you have a really good relationship, especially with our government customers. We see a lot in our DoD space that our military individuals are constantly changing and moving. How do you find the best person to continue that relationship you had with the previous individual?
So definitely what Amy said, but the other thing I would say is this all goes back to knowing your customer. Some of these folks some of them are politically appointed, right, will be there for 3 years. So when you start those conversations and have those long-term enterprise strategic, discussions, just realize that, they've got a time frame to be successful, and that's when they're going to come out. So you don't have to wait until the time where they know they have to PCS out, right? You can have that conversation to make sure, if you understand their mission, hey, how can I continue this with with who's coming in after you, right? But you got to stay ahead of the curve.
All right, a specific action step that people should take right now to take their sales career to the next level. And
So the one piece I'd give everybody here today is, first and foremost, know your customer. In some cases, better than they know themselves, and understand their business, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what they care about. That's what they're hoping you can help them with. And then the last one is, be prepared and practice. So I'll echo what Mike said. There are communities like this that you can ask for feedback from your peers, right? I get asked all the time, even for internal presentations, right? I take the time to practice, understand my talking points, so I can come in there, make sure I articulate my point, get value out of it. Please don't wing it, right? Be prepared, go in there ready, help your customer.